Hi, guys. Aaron Dorr here with the American Firearms Association. As you guys know, AFA likes to produce video content analyzing the successful uses of the Second Amendment by everyday citizens. Watching a good guy stop a would-be rapist, a would-be robber, a would-be murderer, a would-be kidnapper with their Second Amendment is a great thing. It helps all of us to remember what we're fighting for. As AFA works in Congress and state capitals across America to defend our gun rights, we have to remember if we lose our gun rights, we lose our ability to defend ourselves against criminals and against tyrants. So watching citizens use their gun rights in the right way, it's a great thing. By the way, if you're not seeing these videos, subscribe to our channel and make sure you're not missing out. After our members watch videos like the ones we're talking about, one of the common questions we have received is, okay, Aaron, what comes next? So I've got past the immediate attack on my life. I've used my firearm. What must I be doing next, thinking about next as the situation continues to evolve before the police arrive? And it's a great question because there have been, sadly, many examples of good guys who thought the situation was done and they were attacked again by the guy they thought they had put down. Or they were shot by the police on accident, mistaking the good guy for the bad guy. So we're going to give you in this video a very simple top 5 list of things you should be doing and preparing for mentally in case this ever happens to you. As a reminder, AFA, we are not lawyers here at AFA. We fight to defend your gun rights in Congress and state capitals. This is not legal advice. I'm giving you our top 5 list from our team here at AFA on what we would do if we were in this situation. So very simply, the list is number 1, prepare for a counterattack. Prepare for another or a counter attack. Just because you shot the bad guy doesn't mean he's deceased. It doesn't mean he's done attacking you. He might be wounded, he might be faking it, or he might be deceased. But the first 2 scenarios allow him to roll over with a separate handgun and re-engage you. So until that guy is in handcuffs and the police are there with him in custody, dead or alive, you do not know if that threat is forever over. You also don't know if he was operating alone. What if he has a backup? What if he has buddies right outside the gas station, to use the armed robbery scenario, who are waiting to rush inside and take you out? So number 1 is to prepare for a counterattack. What does that mean? Well, it's very simple. Reload and find cover. Reload and find cover. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to secure the scene. Again, you don't know if he has backup waiting outside to rush inside there and attack you if you're engaging with the primary threat. And so if you're inside a business and you can lock the doors, do it. It helps keep those guys outside, helps keep the witnesses who saw the situation contained, and allows you to have some measure of control over the variables in that situation. If you're in a parking lot at the local grocery store, that's different. You can't secure that scene very well. But if you can, secure the scene. Number 3, call the police. It's easy for people to assume that everybody heard the gunfire, someone's calling the police, I don't have to. But that's a big mistake. Many people will not call the police for various reasons. So if you're there with a friend or a spouse or someone who you trust, make sure they call the police immediately. You want the police to understand right away that you're the victim and the guy you shot was the bad guy. If that story gets conveyed by somebody else, it could very easily sound like you're the bad guy and you shot the good guy. You want the police, when they arrive, to know you're the good guy, you're not the bad guy. So if you can have a friend or spouse call in there and make that statement, do it. Make sure they give your location and your description so they know you're the good guy. If you're there by yourself, you have to call them. But in that case, be careful. Don't say too much. That could harm you legally down the road. That's step number 3, call the police. Step number 4 is a little more multidimensional, and it's arming your team. Arming your team. So if you're there alone, this doesn't apply. But if you're there with a friend, you're there with a spouse, you're there with somebody else who is not armed, be thinking about using your secondary firearm to arm somebody else to help you protect your back. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't carry a backup firearm, that's the purpose of this video in part, is to make you think about that. Who is your team? Well, that's a good question. If you haven't trained your spouse, she can't be a part of the team. If you haven't trained your adult children to use a firearm, they're not part of your team. So part of this is thinking long term, who around me in my circle should be trained to use defensive force? Well, your spouse sure as heck should. Your adult and even younger children sure as heck should. And so train them, make sure they know what to do in these situations. And in case they're not armed when that happens, give them your backup gun and arm your team and take the proper position. Step number 5 is the last one, and this is to secure your firearm before it's too late. What do I mean by that? Well, that's very simple. When the cops arrive, they may or may not know you're the good guy. Even if they were told that by dispatch, they're going to be arriving doing 100 miles an hour. Maybe it's nighttime. It's pitch black. They could be busy, distracted. They may have simply not heard your description. When the cops arrive, they're going to have an adrenaline dump just like you do at that point. And if they walk in there and there's a guy laying on the ground over there bleeding and you're standing there holding your handgun, you may very likely be perceived as the threat. You may very likely, in fact, be shot at by mistake by well-intentioned officers who do not know who is good and who is bad, but you're the guy holding the gun. So as police arrive, secure your firearm. If there's an active threat, that's different. But as far as you know, if that threat is over, secure your firearm in your holster out of sight. So when the cops arrive, you're not the guy holding the gun. You'll tell them, of course, when the thing calms down, you're armed. They will, of course, grab your firearm as evidence in the investigation. That's fine, but you do not want to be the guy who is holding a handgun when the cops burst in the scene to stop a lethal attack. Guys, that is our top 5 list. If you disagree with us, that's fine. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you agree with us, leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you have your own top 5 list, that's also fine. Leave your list in the comment section. We want to hear from you guys what you think about these very dynamic, very, very fast-moving situations. Guys, as always, be involved in the fight for freedom. Go to joinafa.org to learn more. Thank you.